And we're live, I believe. I believe. Do I see a counter? There we go. Everything's on, and we're live, folks. It's Thursday afternoon again. Time for another 90 minutes of model mayhem on the live mic live stream here on YouTube on the Modeling with Mike channel. I'm Mike. This is Moose. As everybody knows, we'll start with as always, with the poll results from last week. The question was, are you harder on builds than other people are? Yes, 92%. No, didn't get any love at all at zero, and depends on the build. Finished with 8%. So overwhelmingly, overwhelmingly, we're harder on our builds than other people are. So let's get to the topic for today. The topic for today is airbrushing versus hand brushing, which is better, or which do you use, or you know, is airbrushing better than hand brushing? So let me explain first that this is not about right or wrong, because it all depends on skill level, budget realities, and space, health, and time. And there's a lot of stuff that goes into this cost breakdown, like entry level airbrush. You have to pay for your compressor, your hoses, your cleaners, your thinners, maintenance and replacement parts, space and ventilation considerations. And depending on whether you go entry level or you go higher up, you could spend anywhere from, for a real cheap one set, $40 all the way up to 200 plus more. On the other hand painting, you got to buy a brush. You have the different paint types. There's more time invested in it, and there's a skill curve toward it. You have to learn about brush control and thinning and all that. So there's break cost breakdowns to both of them. Now, skill versus tool debate. Each one you have to have good surface prep. Moosey's wanting down, so I'll let him down. Say bye, Moosey. There you go. Go play. All right. So each one you have to have good surface prep. You have to have proper paint thinning. And whether you use an airbrush or hand painting, you have to have patience and you have to practice it to get good at either one. And hand brushing teaches control. Airbrushing can mask or magnify, either way, mistakes. Now, here's some common myths and misconceptions. Some myths about both. Number one, you can't get smooth finishes by hand. Well, yeah, you can. Number two, airbrush equals pro results. Not if you don't know what you're doing. Number three, hand painting is only for beginners. No, airbrushing is for beginners too. And budget tools can't produce good results. Well, this channel proves that wrong all the time. So, some budget first recommendations for new modelers on a tight budget. When not to buy an airbrush. Number one, if you don't know how to use one, don't buy one. You go to or buy a very cheap one so you can learn with that. Or, like I was going to say, start with a hand brush. You got to master certain skills. You got to master how to prep for painting. You got to master how to use an airbrush, how to control the the trigger so you don't get that paint splotch when you first start it. And budget upgrades that matter more. If you master that cheapo, it's time to move up. Now, does an airbrush make sense? Well, when you have room for a properly vented and proper uh, spray booth, you gotta have ventilation when you're using an airbrush. So when you have room for that and the proper ventilation, yeah, use an airbrush. If you don't, you almost have to use a hand brush. So let's see here. Real world scenarios. You have apartment and limited space modeling. If you live in an apartment, you might have to use a hairy stick because number one, you might have limited space. Number two, you might not be able to vent properly, which comes to my second point, health concerns and ventilation. Uh, you have to ventilate. If you inhale, number one, if you inhale paint particles, that's not good. If you're using uh, lacquers and enamels, or say uh, oh other paints like that, you're talking about fumes that you're inhaling, and that's not good. So you got to have proper ventilation, got to have a good mask. Time limited hobbyists. If you have a limitation on time, you might want to go with an airbrush because airbrushing is covers a lot more room, a lot more space, a lot faster. And fixed income or hobby budgets. You can do airbrushing on a fixed income. I do it, you know, but you know what you use might want to check your own budget whether uh, airbrush can fit in there or not. So that's my short little spiel. Let's hit the chat as we usually do after my spiel. Chat says hello, hello, Chat. Uh, Gotta move back up. Chat. Looney. Oh, wait, that's Jan. Yeah. Jan says, hey, good evening. Good evening, Jan. Chat says, Micah Moosey. Chat. Okay, and Chet says airbrushing is a superior finish over hand brushing. Hand brushing better for bringing out fine details. Airbrushing much better control than rattle can and hand brushing. Airbrushing higher up front. Cost, yes. Yes to all those, although I have seen hand brushing models that look like they were done with an airbrush, to tell you the truth, Chet. Jan says, I think the hairy stick is harder to master. Jan says, airbrush could be cheaper in the end with less paint usage. Okay. Chet says you are not going to get the same quality results on a scale model car body with the hand brush. Armor, planes, and ships are horses of a different color. Not worried about a high polished sign. High polished shine. There we go. Then Chet says, I was first in this time. Yes, you were. Jan says you can get great finishes with a hairy stick. Only an airbrush does it easier. Yeah, that's the point. You can get a great finish with a hairy stick, but yeah, airbrush is a lot easier. It's a lot faster too. John Christmas, how you doing, John? John says depends on the paint you use. True. And there's some there's technique involved in hand brushing. Michael Lambertino says, I agree, for show quality, airbrush rules. That's true. That's true. Although, I don't know if you were here when a couple seconds ago, told Chet I've seen hand brush models that really look like they were done with an airbrush. I really couldn't tell the difference. So a lot of it is in technique. But, if you don't know how to use an airbrush, it doesn't matter, does it? Because it's still going to look like crap. So let's see. I had questions here. Okay, since we're talking about quality here, first question of the day for y'all. Who here has ruined a model learning to airbrush? When you were learning to airbrush, did you ruin a model? I sure did. John says, brush for detail like cockpit dials, airbrush for big areas. That's usually what I do, John. Yep. I use them both, but a lot of times there's people who, well, actually there are actually some people who prefer a brush all the time. I was gonna say there's some people who can't afford an airbrush, but I mean, you can always afford an airbrush. I think it's the booth and the air compressor that gets you, cost wise. Jan says, "Oh yeah, ruined the A6M0 bottom paint, all cracked. Didn't let the paint dry enough. There you go." Michael says, "Only time I use a brush is for interior on a car or truck and sometimes engine detailing." Okay. Chet says, "Wouldn't just be technique. To lay down a great hand brush, smooth finishes require high end paint brushes, and then you need to know how to maintain them. You could pay upwards of $30 per brush." True. John says, "Airbrush cheaper than a Newton and Windsor brush." Yeah, true. Bernard Dye says, "Hi all." Adrian says, "What do you mean ruin a kit when you began using an airbrush? I still screw them up now with an airbrush, let alone a hairy stick." Well, there you go. Well, I guess that says it all, doesn't it? Oh, yeah, I still screw up too. Chet says, "No, if the paint doesn't come out good, a soak in LA Awesome and start over. Rinse and repeat." True. LA Awesome or any degreaser, something like that. Yeah. Bernard says, "I only did brush painting when I was a kid, and I'm sure the paint jobs were awful, though I had a good time." Yep, me too. Me too. That's all. Well, I mean, got to remember when we were kids, there either A wasn't anything known as airbrushing for models. The only airbrush you knew of was, these big stuff for cars and stuff that, or else if there was one, it was way, it was priced way out of everybody's budget. It wasn't like it is now where everybody can afford one. You either had to have a hell of a good paying job or they weren't even available. Bernard says, "I discovered airbrushing when I returned to the hobby last year, and even a cheap airbrush beats the pants off my brush painting. I just use brushes now for small parts, details, and touch ups." Yep, that's what I do. I have a nice set of detail brushes that I got from Amazon. They do the trick for touch ups and small parts. Chat says, "Not true. I'm 58, and in the 70s, you could get a Badger airbrush with a can of compressed air for about 20 bucks." Wow, I never saw one. Bernard says, "But I see pictures of beautiful models done by guys that brush paint, and I would like to be able to do that, maybe on a 1/72nd kit so it's manageable." Yeah, I mean, if you want to learn how to do that, do it on some 1/72nd or a good cheapo kit. Yeah. Adrian says, "The hardest bit I find is getting the mixing right. They say the consistency of milk. What? Whole milk, semi skimmed, almond? I don't know. So it is all a guessing game for me, but I keep on trying." Yeah, I don't go by the milk thing. I sit there, I mix it up. I have the, for my paints, I have the ratios down. I've been doing it for a couple of years now, and I've got the ratios down. But what I do is I mix it up and I run it up the side of the color cup. If it goes down, it doesn't stick to the side. If it goes down nice and easy, it's ready to go. If it goes up and it looks like it's going down real slow and it's sticking to the side, well, it's going to stick. Some of it's going to stick to the side, but you know what I'm saying. If you brush it up and it goes back down real slow, like it's real thick, you got to add some thinner to it. Chet says, Adrian, just use RTS paints like Kaleido, scale finishes, tropical glitz, etc. No measuring, shake and pour. There you go. Or you can do what Chet said. That's one thing I love about Kaleido. Oh God, you can use it right out of the bottle. It's great. I mean, I could. I mean, they send you thinner with it, but I like put half a cup in a Kaleido, and I might add like 5 drops of thinner, and that's all I use for that stuff. Jan says, listen to your airbrush. There you go. You can hear your airbrush struggle when the paint is too thick or pressure too low. There you go. Amen. Adrian says, that's what they say about Vallejo Air. Ready to? Oh, hell no, it isn't. Yeah. Yeah, I've noticed I have to thin Vallejo. But no, Kaleido, I use it. I use Kaleido. You do not have to thin it. And even if you thin it, like I said, 5 drops of thinner, and that's all I use. And it goes right through. It's great. And Adrian, the other brands that Chet said, scale finishes, tropical glitz. I've heard those do the same thing as Kaleido, but Kaleido's cheaper. I believe. I'm not. I'm not positive, but I'm pretty sure. Chet says only use Vallejo, AK, Tamiya, testers, and Revell for hand brushing details. There you go. Yeah. Chet says no, Kaleido is not cheaper. What do you mean? Kaleido's like $3.54 a bottle. Stephen Kessel says, model on, Mike. Model on, Stephen. Unless scale finishes, tropical glitz, and RTS are more or less than 350, then Kaleido is cheaper. Bernard says the brush painting guys say to use thin paints, and the paint is supposed to go on in streaks in one direction. Then each successive coat goes on in perpendicular strokes. Yep. Chet says, Stephen K. Bernard says, with the waiting to dry between each brush coat, it seems it would take forever to finish. So far, I haven't been able to make it work. Oh yeah, that is the problem with it. It does take longer. It does take longer to brush coat. Chet says scale finishes is $5 to $12, but it's 1 to 2 ounce bottles. Okay. And Kaleido's 20 milliliters. Well, I'm not good with metric to English conversions. Seems to me like it'd be about the same price. One to 2 ounces. Okay, 30 milliliters equals 1 ounce. So 20 milliliters, you're taking, well, if it's 2 ounces, 20 milliliters would take 3 bottles to get 2 ounces. So that'd be 357. That'd be 1050 at the cheapest and $12 at the most expensive. So it'd be about the same. Unless you get lucky to get, I'm thinking $5 bottles are 1 ounce. So 30 milliliter, 1 ounce, 350 $4, you get 10 milliliters less. So yeah, it's pretty much the same. We're splitting hairs now. All right. So let's see. Wow, this is throwing me off because YouTube changed their where they put their timer. It used to be above the audience count, and now it's over here at the top of the screen. And I'm looking over here in the corner of the screen that isn't there. I got John says, Kaleido, great customer service. Ordered a set, didn't turn up. They sent replacement on 48-hour post, arrived same time as original order. They said as was keep it as was messed around. Wow, well, cool. Yeah. Gallery has good customer service. That's one thing I could say about them. I have never had a problem with them. Chet says if you purchase Scale Finishes mystery colors, they are $6 for a 2 ounce bottle. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm still a Kaleido fan. You're not going to get me off Kaleido. Oh, and Chet says, but it's like a box of chocolate. Never know what you're going to get. Exactly. Which makes it sort of like Christmas. Okay. Let's ask another question here. And be honest. Maybe some of you can't remember, but try. What was your first airbrush cost? Be honest. Mine, I bought one of them cheap little box. It was a set. It was a cheapo airbrush, one of them little box compressors off of Amazon. I paid $40 for the set. So the brush itself couldn't have been more than 15 or $20. Needless, I used that for a good, God, 9 months to a year before I got my GHAD 39 and the compressor I got now. Oh, Chet says about $130. It was a compressor, 3 master airbrush hoses, and regulator. Oh yeah, I know master. Yeah, I know the kit you're talking about. It was on. John says Iwata Neo was my first airbrush. 80 pounds. Damn, went straight to the good stuff. Bernard says my first airbrush was one of those bundles that comes with a compressor and 3 airbrushes, about $100. They are cheap generic brushes, but they are fine for basic work. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I use my cheapo for God, nine months at least. And I got tired of buying needles for it every time I bumped it. That's about the time that I'm not sure. I think it was Nigel. It was either Nigel or maybe it was Barbatos Rex that uh, reviewed the GHAD 39 when that first came out way back, 2 or 3 years ago. Oh, I said, that sounds good. Send my price range, and apparently it's a good airbrush. I went on it, and boom. It turned out to be a great airbrush. For the price point, it's a great airbrush. Yeah, I bought that box compressor set, and then I bought another cheapo airbrush that I still have, and that thing violently bubbles back now, and I have no idea what's wrong with it. I think the holes where the air travels out of the body into the nozzle section, those are clogged. I think because I put on a brand new nozzle and does the same thing. Chet says my Pache H was a Christmas gift, and since been purchasing gallery airbrushes and am up to 5 of them. Yeah, I love gallery airbrushes. God, they're good. I'm thinking about buying either an Ace model or a Swallowtail for my birthday coming up. And I'll put my cheapo gallery away for a emergency airbrush or something like that, because that still works. I use my all the painting work that I did on that the last build series. All the painting work I did on the end was with the cheapo gallery, because I was having trouble with my other two. Ended up finding out that it was my nozzles weren't seated properly. Chet says Swallowtail is great for big areas when using a .5 tip and fan cap. All right, I'll keep that in mind. Thank you. Bernard says my first upgrade airbrush was the Iwata Eclipse. Hobby Lobby blew out their stock last year when they stopped carrying them. I got it for $65. Wow. Doesn't need cleaning as much as the cheap ones. True. Adrian says I bought a secondhand set off a guy on the net, and it came with a compressor, 2 airbrushes, hose, etc. The lot cost me £60, and the compressor is still going, and my cheapo airbrush, a Voilamart brush, is going strong and used regularly. Cool. Yeah. You got the mother load there. Nice grab, Adrian. I would say so. Chet says I have the Swallowtail 3998 Mobius .2 for fine detail and chrome, and the TG. But man, it pushes some paint. Adrian says my main is a GHAD 68. I love that brush. Mine is the Mobius .3. I got a Mobius .3. That thing just, man. The nozzle is seated properly, it runs like hell. Why can't I remember the word nozzle today? Old man brain. Old man brain, guys. Old man brain. Wow. It's almost 40 minutes into this thing. Got 5 minutes till I tell you what's coming up on the channel. Oh, yeah, I wanted to tell y'all, and I said it on the video, I'll say it to you now that I'm here with y'all. My true apologies on that part 2 of the Bristol Bulldog build series. The camera work sucked. You couldn't see a damn thing I was doing. My fault. I'm still learning how to use that top-down camera setup, and I thought, Mr. Genius here thought that if I put it real close, you could see every detail. Well, I forgot to take into consideration that the closer you get, the less the field of vision through the camera lens is. So, if you were gonna see everything I did, I'd have to do everything within about a 5 inch radius. So, my apologies. This next one I found is much better. I raised up the camera level and it's a lot better. There's little itty bitty parts where you can't see what I was doing, but I had to get the part up close to really see what I was doing. So tomorrow's video will be much better. Chet says, FYI, the GH8039 had a two-piece trigger stop that's a pain to put back in when the trigger falls out. The 88 one-piece style will replace it. It's an upgrade. Okay. I mean, yeah, no, the 98. Okay. Yeah, that's the one I'm thinking about getting. It's the 98. But yeah, I've never had a problem. Well, the only pain that I've had with the trigger is when you take it apart. It's like every other one, except for the expensive ones, has that you know, little attachment at the end of the trigger that goes back and forth, and you got to deal with that and get it perfectly in the hole. That's the only problem I've had with it, was just getting that you know Chet says, don't turn the airbrush upside down with the needle out. Well, yeah, but I'm talking about when I do a deep clean and I got to take the body and soak the body in water, and yeah. And I take the trigger out then, so water can get all in there. Jan says, Harder and Steenbeck so easy to disassemble and reassemble. I've heard that, but it's also so expensive to buy. Which is why I don't own one. But, I'm a gallery guy. Until I find a better airbrush for a comparable price, I'm going to stay a gallery guy. And they've always treated me right. So, yep. All right, guys, it's oh, Jan says an Ultra isn't that expensive. Evolution and Infinitive, yeah, they are fairly pricey. How much is an Ultra? I haven't priced H&S lately. but it's over. If it's much over $100, that's too pricey for me. Okay, guys, it's 45 minutes into this, so I'm going to tell you what's coming up on the channel. Hold on, Bernard, I'll answer that. Coming up tomorrow will be part 3 in the Bristol Bulldog build series. We're going to put the cockpit in and close up the fuselage and assemble and put the bottom wing on. And then Tuesday will be part 4. We're going to basically put the rear assembly on, the horizontal stabilizers in the tail rudder section, and put the exterior details around the cowling. And then part 5 will be next Friday. I believe we're going to get into the struts and the top wing then. So that's what's coming up. And Bernard says, what have you heard about the Gallery of Venice brush? I've heard some people are having problems with it, with the trigger sticking, and I've heard Gallery has heard about their problems and is dealing with it. And other than that, I've heard it's a very good airbrush. Very good. So if you buy one now, it's gonna cost you if you want it personalized. It's a good $250 if you want it personalized. And if not, if you just want the standard, it's like $150, $170, something like that. Chet says, unless you are painting fine art, you don't need a high-end brush for model building. You're exactly right. Chet says, Bernard, I heard it's GMA grade airbrush. Thinking about getting myself one for my birthday on the 28th. And Chet says they fixed the issues. Yep. I knew they heard about them, and I knew they were in the process of it. So, yep, there you go. There you go, Bernard. Yeah, other than that one issue that a lot of people had with it, I heard it's a really great airbrush. Bernard says the base of Venice is not too bad a price, still cheaper than some others. Yeah. And that's the Gallery top of the line right now, basically. Chet says anyone who didn't return them got a fix and a kit sent to them, which goes back to what I was saying before about Gallery. They treat you right. I was just going to say something about that, Chet. The new beginner seeker line is coming out. Yeah, and if you want to learn airbrushing for a good price, yeah, get that seeker. Moosey, enough. Cool it. Yeah, I heard that seeker line's supposed to be a good brush for not that much money. I might get me one of those to replace my Gallery cheapo for like my clear coats, priming, and stuff like that. That'd be great. Yeah. And plus, guys, remember if you use either my discount code or Chet's discount code, you get 10% off on the gallery website, and you can't beat that. Chet says, can't say anything bad about gallery. Jerome is my rep and great to deal with. I'm always sending him recommendations for their products and paints. Yep, Sita is my rep and great to work with. You got have a problem or a suggestion, just drop them a email and you know they deal with it and they don't get all pissed off at you either. They are very easy to deal with, which for a Chinese company is you're you don't see that often from a Chinese company. How about another question, guys? How about another question? This one will get you, some of you riled up, maybe. Does an airbrush improve results or just had height? Let me, easy for y'all to say. Does an airbrush improve results or just hide bad fundamentals? Depending on how good you are at it, does both. But, you know, if you want, if I had to choose one, I'd say it improves results. Because if you use bad fundamentals, I don't care what you do, and that good paint job is not gonna, a good paint job's not gonna hide a crappy build job. Chet says, I ruined an airbrush disassembling it. I crushed the threads where the cup goes. Tried buying a replacement body. Instead, they sent me a replacement brush. Wow. That was gallery. I could see them doing that. Wow. Yeah, I could see them doing that. Sent you a whole brush. All you needed was a body. Wow. Oh, you didn't hear the question. Okay. Does an airbrush improve results or just hide bad fundamentals? Bernard says I'd say it does both. Given my brush painting is not very good yet, uh, but you can't deny the efficiency of the airbrush for getting past brush marks and streaks. True, but like I just said before, good paint job's not going to cover up a crappy build. So you still have to have good fundamentals. And airbrush does not magically make a good mix of paint if you're, not using one of these brands that are grayed out of the bottle. Chet says a good paint job requires great prep work. Bad prep work will show like a sore thumb once painted. Yes, sir. All true. And great prep work is what? Good fundamentals. I've said it before. I'll say it again. You need good fundamentals in everything you do. I don't care if it's model building, sports, music, it all comes down to good fundamentals if you want to be totally good at it. Yeah. Uh, Damn, Chet, it's almost an hour into it. What are we going to do now that football season's over? This used to be the time when we started talking about Thursday night football. Chet says, I'm in the process of painting a 60 Impala, wet sanded body, primed, wet sanded primer, primed again, wet sanded again, getting ready for color coat, and it's one of the hardest paint colors to do. It's gonna be black, slightest flaws will show. Yeah, yeah. Oh man, I tell you what, I had a car once that was black, and of course, Mr. Brilliant here thought, well, it's a dark color, therefore dirt isn't gonna show. Yeah, right. Every speck of dirt that thing got showed. Chet says black with a white roof, red and white interior. Oh, that's gonna be sharp. Yes, put that on the group. I'd love to see that. Yeah, that would look sharp, 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 sharp. What, buddy? What? Come on, come here, come here, come here. Yes, there you go. There's your moosey fix, everybody. Bernard says Chet has a nice red, white, and blue Corvette he's saved and showed on his videos. Pretty cool, like something Captain America would drive. I think I've seen that. And yeah, it is cool. It is a nice build. Chet says in high school I worked at Z-Bart undercoating. Black and red will show any scratch in the paint when cleaning. Had to handle those cars differently. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Black is one of the worst colors for showing everything. You get a speck of dust on black, it'll stick out like a sore thumb. So, what's everybody got on your bench? I still got my Huey helicopter Metal Earth kit that I'm working on. And everybody knows I got the Bristol Bulldog. That's what's on my bench. Chet says in the Impala, gonna try something. After the black, I'm gonna put a light coat of halogen pearl so that the black shimmers blue in certain lights. That would be sharp. Yes, that would be sharp. Yeah, I'm still working on that Metal Earth Huey. Bernard says, still plugging away on my New Jersey. Work has slowed now that I've gotten a job, but it's still going. Dreading the rigging, which I've not done before. Ooh, yeah. Well, take your time on it. No big rush. Yeah, hopefully I'll get back to work on that Huey this weekend. I've been I've been watching the Olympics the past couple of weeks during the evening. But that ends this weekend, so hopefully after that I can get back to doing some work at the bench. All right. So another good, okay. Another good live stream so far. Chet says, I'm working on the Impala, a 72 Nova Burgundy Metallic with ghost flames, a USAC 69 Camaro Wild Cherry Candy with ghost flames, then into my bootlegger 53 Ford pickup. Just got a gun rack and rifles. Cool. For the black window. Okay. For the back window. Okay. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I'm gonna sit down sometime this weekend and figure out, the theme and dates and all that good stuff for my next group build. And sometime I gotta order a kit for Chet's group build, but maybe not for another month or two because I have this guy's vet visit next month. Then the month after that, April, I gotta go over to the kidney specialist in Fort Wayne, which will cost me $150 for a ride over there. Yeah. So my budget's pretty well shot for the next couple months. Well, let's see. Wow, almost an hour 10 in. One more question. What's the worst device you've heard about airbrushing or hand painting? I'd say the worst advice I've heard was the one of them we covered was that you can't get smooth finishes by hand. You can, just got to take your time. Got to take your time, have the right mix of your paint and thinner, and use light, thin coats. Do it right, and you can get a damn good finish by hand. So, what's the worst device you've heard about airbrushing or hand painting? Chet says, just to let you all know, Scale Finishes is having their first group build. It's a 250th anniversary celebration of America and can be any type of model. I believe red, white, and blue and have 76 on it. Hmm. Okay. Cool. Okay. Chet says Scale Finishes has YouTube videos about the build. Okay, I'll look that up. I'll look that up. Yes, Moosey. Yes, buddy. Boogie boogie. Damn, Chet, are you the only one here? Can't be. There's four people in the it says there's four people watching. There's Bernard. He says worst airbrush advice is to only buy expensive brushes. It's true they are better, but I've gotten real work done with the cheap ones. Chet says, I plan on doing a 76 Dart and Sox and Martin paint scheme. Also, maybe a 76 GM and Ford. Cool. All right. Chet says, same theme as a lot of model shows this year. Yeah, they're doing up that 250 thing. Why not? Oogie boogie. Something tells me fireworks sellers are gonna make a bundle this year come 4th of July. Yeah, shijabuji. Oh. Chat says STS Decals has all kinds of patriotic decals on their website. Cool, I'll keep that in mind too. Because I'm sort of leaning on my next group build as a 250th celebration one, giving everybody till the 4th to get it done. Gives you plenty of time, a lot more than I gave you the last time. I want to have everything planned and stuff by the 1st of March so I can fill you all in on it for first week of March and boom. Have probably till the last week of June to get it done. So that's March, April, May. That'd be like 4 months to get it done. Plenty of time. What, buddy? Oh, you only got 15 minutes left. Yes, booty, booty, booty. All right. Well, let's see. It's about hour 15 into it now, which means, let's see, about 10, that leaves about 12 minutes left to chat. Adrian says, are you enjoying the Bulldog Bowl? Yeah, Bulldog Bowl. Yeah, okay. Easy for you to say. Are you enjoying the Bulldog build? Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Got part 3 coming out tomorrow. And it's going to be a hell of a lot better than part 2. You'll be able to see what I'm doing this time. And yeah, it's fitting together great. I mean, I took a look at that 3D printed engine, and I'm still wondering where it goes. I mean, I took a good look at it and compared it to the kit instructions, and there's some parts that's in that 3D printed engine. I don't know what they're for. Looks like one of them's the shaft for the propeller, but well, I don't know. I know nine of them appear to be the pistons for the engine go around the outside of the engine, but uh, I have no idea what the rest of them are. But so far, so good, Adrian. Yeah, so far, so good. It is going great. It blows away that damn smur kit that I built for the group build. Oh my God. That thing was crap compared to this kit. But then again it was smur, so can't really expect much from a smur kit. Yes. Yes. Okay, I'll give you guys last question to end the stream with. What's the biggest limitation you work around? Space, money, time, or confidence? Chet says, read my last response. All the above. Oh man, now a pop up ad comes up. Hold on, Chet. Gotta get rid of this pop up ad, which is a bunch of other little offers. And then I gotta go. It says, go straight to, says, go to App Store. I don't want to go to App Store. I want to go to my chat. Okay. And let's see. Last response of yours, Chet, says STS Decals has all kinds of patriotic decals on their website. And if you wrote something after that, it didn't go through. So maybe you want to, if you wrote something after that, you might want to retype it. Adrian says, that is so lovely to see you and Moose. Yeah, he's my boy. Yes, okay, buddy. Then Chet says, all the above to answer the question. And Adrian says, money all the time. Pensions don't go far today. Nope. That mine is money. Disability payments don't go far either. Dang. We're down to about 7 minutes left before I have to put a bow on this thing. Then I'm going to go sit and rewatch it. I always rewatch my live streams right after I do them. Chet says, I just got reverse alligator clips from Amazon. You squeeze the jaws together to internally hold small parts for airbrushing. Works great. Cool. I might have to get some of those for my birthday. Get me an airbrush and a set of those. Yeah, because I have a couple of those reverse tweezers. And they work great. About $12 for 10. Good price too. Yeah. All right. So Chet says, I also just received a bunch of your favorite parts, all kinds of PE. Well, you enjoy them, Chet. You enjoy them. Jijaboo, mushy. Adrian says, I am going to say good night, Mike. Get a bit more modeling done and catch up on a few of your videos. You're doing a great job, Mike. Well, thank you, Adrian. Thank you for the kind words. And we will see you next week, my friend. Yeah, catch up on my videos. I need the view. I need the viewing hours. All right, buddy. Yeah, I'm gonna have to put a bow on this here in a couple minutes. All right. So 3 minutes, well, 2.5 minutes left. Last call for comments. Chet says, I just posted a video last night of the supplies I just got. Okay, I'll have it on my screen probably when I sign in. So Adrian says, will do. Good night. Take care of Moosey. I always do, bud. I always do. I wonder what happened to Bubba this week. Hmm. Da 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 da. Yep. All right. Well, let's see. Anything I can bring up that'll last for 2 minutes? Hmm. Chet says, you buried him in the backyard for saying Mike. No, I didn't. Besides, I don't have a backyard. Have to grind them up in the sinkerator. Oh Lord. Well, another good live stream. Not as many people watching as usual, but a lively discussion nonetheless. So it's about hour and 27 into it. So I'm going to start putting a bow on this. So thank you all for showing up and taking part in the chat as usual. To everybody who's what? Calm down, Lucy. To everybody who's watching this later at a later time, don't forget about the group, the Facebook group. It's called the Frugal Scale Modeler. Every video in the description, I put a link to it. Just use that link. It'll take you to the homepage. Answer 3 questions about modeling and agree to the group rules, and you're in. Also, do not forget about the gallery discount. I have a gallery discount. If you're on gallery website, enter the code MW Mike, all capital letters, all one word, and you can get 10% off your order or your purchase. Also, you can use Chet's discount. That's Billboards Builds. Use that at checkout, and the same 10% can be had. Let's see. I also have a discount code with the gallery store on Amazon. That would be SH48 Mike. Again, all capital letters, all one word, SH48 Mike. That's only good for a 5% discount, though, on that. Let's talk about the next 3 videos. Tomorrow is going to be part 3 of the Bristol Bulldog series. We're going to be doing we're going to put the cockpit into the fuselage, put the fuselage together, and some work around the cowling, and we're going to assemble the bottom wing and attach that to the plane. Tuesday is going to be part 4. We're going to put some more guns and stuff around the cowling. We're going to put the horizontal stabilizers and the tail and rudder assemblies on. And then next Friday will be part 6, and we're going to get into these mounting struts and the top wing. So that's what's coming up on the channel. So that's all I got for this stream here. Let's catch up on the last chats. The only one that says is Chet. He says, Hot Atlanta Sunday, go Penske for the win. NASCAR is back. Yeah, good Daytona 500 last week. Saw the highlights on YouTube Monday. Good race. So That's all I got for this week. Y'all know what we say around here, and say it with me. Never stop pushing your modeling boundaries until tomorrow at 8:30 for the next video. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.